keep going up. May not just keep fucking going to Valhalla, right? Is when our high point all of a sudden isn't higher than our last high point. See, we have higher high, higher high, higher high. Well, now we have a higher low. Kind of confirmation is if our next low is not a higher low. I mean, this could go up and we'd have a higher low, but now we have lower high and a lower low. We try again and our high point is still lower than the last. Our low point lower than the last. And now you see this red line here where you'll see I usually draw these diagonal lines as a resistance. And it's trying. And what is the first indication that we may start to reverse? The first indication is after a lower high, now we're getting a higher low. We're not continuing to drop down further, right? So what's confirmation or something that lets us know we could be heading into a high? Okay, we've had a higher low. Now our next high is higher than the last. Our low, we come back down and test, is higher than the last. So another thing to understand about this is not to FOMO. What I mean is when you look at these lines, these trend lines, identifying the uptrend as support, we're finding support, and then we lost support. But usually when you break a trend, there's a retest. So you don't want to go short somewhere in here, right? Because we're probably going to come back up and retest. So look for the break. So if I'm on an uptrend, I look to get out on the break or the retest. Same thing, I want to wait until I either have a break of trend or the retest. Does that make sense so far? Anybody got any questions? I'm gonna pause every now and then just so I can hit my pipe and take a drink. And like I said, any questions, feel free to ask. But all this is going to be in Trader Tuesday to review, so you can follow up with it. All right, moving on then. I'm going to go right into a chart that shows that. Here's that picture I just whoop, slow the fuck down now. All right. Here's that picture literally that I just showed you. Just drew up so everybody could see. And again, that's in the Trader Tuesday review. Understanding an uptrend, understanding a downtrend, potential reversal points, and the first indicators, right? What is higher lows? What are higher highs? So, damn it, I just did it again. Grab that without meaning to. I don't even know where the fuck that was. So we're just going to look at some price action and kind of establish. And of course, you have to have just some starting point, right? So I'm just going to say this is my starting point. So you can see we're lower than this price. We now have a new lower low. And if we think of this as the high, well, our high point, that's lower. So then we now have a lower high. Here we go into a lower low again, a lower high. And here's our first indication that this downtrend may be reversing. And that is that this low point right here didn't break as far down as here. Here was our last low point. We now have a higher low. So if we want to continue again, and we think this is our high, that was our high point recently, we now have a new high point, a higher high. When we get to our low point, this low point is still higher than this low. Right? Now I pump to a high. Somebody hot micing again. But can you understand how we have now this price action of higher highs and higher lows? And again, you'll see me draw trend lines. And I want to look for a break and a retest. Same thing, I'm going to draw support. And once you have basically, I never think, how do I draw these lines, whatever. First, it would start from what is the low, and then the next. And then you can kind of connect the dots and feel the pattern. So, you know, if I got a higher low and higher low, I'm going to buy on this trend again. And you see what happened. Price still go up.
Young Free, Mike, mute your mic, man.
All right, good to go. So our first indication here is, that's where it came from. This would be right there. So this low is still higher than the last, but our high, our new high, didn't break. So we have a lower high. Now our low point just got lower than this low point. That's not good. So this is indication that this may be the end of this trend. Now that we have a lower high and we have a lower low, that's when you may look to say, huh, what's this going to do? Lower high, so we still didn't break out of it. So I would have started a trend line here, a downtrend. Right? So just taking a high point, taking a high point.
I think you're sharing the wrong screen right now.
Oh shit! What's it? Can you guys not see my chart?
It's still on the graph that you drew up before.
Okay, give me a second. Thank you. All right. Wow, man, I just went through a lot. Now it made no sense.
Well, it was lining up on the other one sometimes. Right. I'm like, wait, hold on. Is it like... So I'm glad someone said so. I was wondering. So
I'm going to just step back a couple here and show you what we've got going on. Everybody can see the chart I'm moving now, right?
Yeah.
All right. Apologies on that. Okay, so you got to have a starting point. We're just going to make it here, right? This is a high point, right? There's a low, there's a high. So this high is lower than the last, right? And the low is lower than the last. So it kind of signifies downtrend. We try to make a new high, but it doesn't break our last highs, right? So we have a lower high. Here we come into a low. Now, our last low point was right here. It's hard to see on that candle. But if this is our low point, we've now made a higher low, right? So this is indication that this downtrend right here may be over. What really kind of lets us know is when now our new high is higher than this. This was our last high point. We're now at a newer high point. We come into a low. And look at that. Our low point is still higher than our last low. And then look at the volume that came in just a couple candles. Boom. Takes off. We hit a high point. It's still higher than our last high. So you can see this is an uptrend, a series of higher lows and higher highs, higher lows and higher highs, right? So what I would do is draw a line here. How do I get this line? Well, here's a resistance point. Here's a resistance point. Resistance point. There you go. And look how once we break here, we break and we retest it as we're moving up, right? Same thing with uptrend. Can draw it kind of like this. To start, start at the low, next low. I'm going to make that green just for better understanding. And now that we've got a couple more higher lows and we've got more of an established trend, I would connect the more established trend. Right? So what's our potential indicator that this uptrend may be coming to an end? We get our high point here. We come down. This high is still there. I'm sorry, this low is still higher than that low. That's good. But our new high point doesn't break new highs. And all of a sudden our new low point is lower than our last low. Here's indication that this trend may be reversing. And here's the thing to keep in mind too. Just because an uptrend ends doesn't mean you're going in a downtrend. You could go a slower uptrend. You could go in a sideways trend. So just because you break up doesn't mean you're going down. Just because you break down doesn't mean you're necessarily going up. You just broke momentum and starting something new. But what's indication that this may be a downtrend? We try again, but our high point just doesn't break the last high. So you could think about entering or shorting anywhere in here now. You have confirmation that your highs aren't breaking the last highs. And then, man, once you break, you could look for entry on the break. Or here's the retest. So this is indication that we could be going down. Now, where are we at with price action literally right now with Solano on this chart? I'm going to zoom in here a little bit closer. This is a 4-hour chart. So every one of these candles represents 4 hours of price action. If this is our low, man, it's right on and just above the last low. So is price going to continue down, and are we going to set a new lower low somewhere down in here and set a new lower low, continue that downward trend? Or is price action going to find support right there and maybe come up here, and now our low will become a higher low, right? So this could become a higher low, or this could continue down right now to a lower low. One way to see what might be happening, let's see where, look, we have resistance, we have resistance, we have resistance, we have resistance, we have resistance. That's a whole lot of resistance. So I can kind of set my trend right there. So I'm now looking at this as we are in a downtrend until we either establish this higher low and then maybe come to a higher high and then come to another higher low. You know, maybe that would let me know, okay, now we're going up. But price could easily just hit right here and come back down. And so we're still getting lower lows, not yet getting those higher highs and higher. Is this making sense to everybody so far?
Yep.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, definitely.
So hopefully understanding this is going to help you understand Thor better.